We're live. Countdown. Hello, I'm Willie Bragg. Welcome to another edition of the Willie Bragg Show, where I like to discuss politics. And today we're going to discuss Marjorie Taylor Greene. But before we do, thanks to Farron Cousins, I saw this clip the other day. I felt the need to share it with you all. So I will explain shortly. Give me a moment. It's the one-man operation thing going on. So here we go.
Joe Biden, you're not a president. You're a piece of...
Okay, counter argument here. Marjorie Taylor Greene, you're a piece of shit. I kind of like this game. I think that's a little fun.
Joe Biden, you're not a president. You're a piece of...
Okay, counter argument here. Marjorie Taylor Greene, you're a piece of shit. I kind of like this game. I think that's a little fun.
Okay, yeah, I had to put that up there because I liked it so much. And so at the end of this video, I'm going to put the link down for Fair and Balanced and Ring of Fire. That's Farron Cousins' channel. I highly recommend it. So I'm going to talk about Marjorie Taylor Greene. And what I hate about clowning on people like Marjorie Taylor Greene is that it makes me look like a partisan Democratic Party hack. And I am not. I mean, I criticize Republicans, but it makes me look like I'm an apologist for the Democrats, and I am not. I'm an independent voter. I have been angry with the Democratic Party since the days of Bill Clinton when he started with the Democratic Leadership Council that Reaganized the Democratic Party to this day. So I want to make that very, very clear. So, and the thing about it is, I am an independent socialist, and I would love to see what other advanced democracies and even democratic countries that exist within the third world have that we lack here in the United States, and that is a viable labor party. So I want to get that out of my chest. And I want to say that Marjorie Taylor Greene is so hateful. She is such a vile human being that she is basically, she makes the late Jesse Helms look like a normal person. She makes this vile individual who was the senator of my state, North Carolina, for many years. And for those of you who are too young to remember or were not around when he was a senator, he was one of the last open segregationist, openly racist senators that exist to this day. I mean, prior to the dog whistles that were louder than ever within the Republican Party, this guy was one of the biggest, highest profile bigots within the Republican Party. And it's not hyperbole to say he was a racist. He was a vile racist. He was a segregationist in the 60s. He remained that as a senator. That's how he got elected. He basically was Mitch McConnell, who is not necessarily a racist, but he's an asshole. He's Mitch McConnell meets David Duke, and as far as I'm concerned, regarding Jesse Helms. And he died in 2008 in July. I wish he would have stayed alive long enough to see Barack Obama be elected president, because he would have been one trigger little bitch seeing Obama getting elected. So anyway, and you know, there are horrible people like Ted Cruz and all these other folks out there, but you know, Marjorie Taylor Greene is a special kind of piece of shit that exists within our electoral system. She's just the worst, and so that's what I want to talk about. But thing about it is that Marjorie Taylor Greene is a hypocrite, and she's a snowflake. And why am I talking about Marjorie Taylor Greene? She's low-hanging fruit in many, many ways. Well, fairly recently, not that I give a damn about Jimmy Kimmel. I'm not really a Jimmy Kimmel fan. I'm not against him. I'm not for him. I don't really watch a lot of TV. But Marjorie Taylor Greene, who's known to harass people, stalk her political opponents, and bully others, well, she can dish it out, and she can't take it. That's the thing. And when she becomes the victim, all of a sudden, when there's just the smallest bit of pushback, I will explain. You know, when Ketanji Brown got confirmed to the Supreme Court, you know, a couple of relatively moderate Republicans, Mitt Romney, what's their name, Susan Collins, and maybe one other person, I can't think of it. I know it was 3 Republicans that voted to confirm Ketanji Brown Jackson to the Supreme Court. Well, Marjorie Taylor Greene referred to those 3 Republicans as pedophile enablers. Remember, she's a QAnon conspiracy theorist. Remember that. Well, Jimmy Kimmel said, you know, where's Will Smith when you need him? She felt threatened, and she contacted the Capitol Police. She contacted the Capitol Police to go and what? Try to arrest Jimmy Kimmel? I mean, Jimmy Kimmel didn't say go slap the fuck out of her. He was just kind of speaking hypothetical, like it's just merely a suggestion. But Jimmy Kimmel rebutted her on his show later on and said she's a snowflake and sociopath. She is a snowflake and a sociopath. She's a right-wing snowflake. There are left-wing snowflakes out there. You know, we're talking about the purple hair college kids who are immature as fuck and don't know any better, and you know, their heart's in the right place, so they get into the SJW stuff and everything like that. And that's not bad, but you know how they go about it is I've always had a problem with how they went about it, and it makes the left look bad. Not their value system, but their tactics. But you know, how is Marjorie Taylor Greene any different? Other than she's obviously not a purple hair college student. That's the big difference right there. And thing about it is that she expresses identity politics and political correctness. What is associated with the regressive left, that attitude exists within some quarters of the right. Now, the thing about it is I don't want to make it out like I'm just out there with whataboutisms and say, well, everybody from the right is, are all pieces of shit. I'm not doing that, because the right and the left has this in common. Not all lefties think alike. Not all righties think alike. You got the Democratic, small d, Democratic left. You got the small d, Democratic right. You got the authoritarian left. You got the authoritarian right. But, there are people who are apologists for the right, and they will tell you, well, everything is terrible and evil and just horrible on the left. They'll do that. And they reject nuances. I don't reject nuances. And some people on the left are going to get angry at me for saying, well, not everybody on the right are horribles and pieces of shit. And the truth is, not everybody on the right's pieces of shit. There are policy disagreements I may have with people on the right. I'm talking about the normie right. But, I think that they're trying to, I don't think that your average elected Republican is trying to implement fascism. But there is a fascist movement within the Republican Party that wants to implement their vision for America. And Marjorie Taylor Greene and people like her and Lauren Boebert and Paul Gosar and people like that are representatives of that faction of the right. Well, let me go on further. Calling these Republicans that voted for Jackson as pedophile enablers. Marjorie Taylor Greene remember this. You're pals with Matt Gaetz. And Matt Gaetz is accused of pedophilia. The last time I checked, I think he's a Republican congressman from Florida. I don't seem to think he's a Democrat or any kind of liberal. So, so Marjorie Taylor Greene is accusing Democrats, of all kinds of. She's with QAnon. She's a QAnon spokesman. And QAnon people believe that they're high-level Democrats in power who are kidnapping little children and raping them and murdering them in a satanic ritual. That's what these people believe. Now, pedophilia is evil. I have no time for it. I think anybody who practices pedophilia is a piece of shit. And there's nothing partisan about it. As far as I'm concerned, there is nothing partisan about pedophilia. I think that any decent person on the left or the right will look at pedophilia and be like, ugh, horrible. So, but she makes it a partisan issue. Now, the thing about it is that, Marjorie Taylor Greene feels threatened by Jimmy Kimmel. She wants to make it out she's a victim, being harassed and bullied by Jimmy Kimmel. We're talking about a woman who wants to go, and the commercial, and I would play that commercial, but I did before and it got struck down on my channel. So obviously they feel threatened, but here's this photo of her shooting a gun. It's a snippet from the commercial where she's shooting target practice at Antifa and Green New Deal and socialists. And that's what she's doing. And she's basically kind of inciting violence. And someone like that is going to accuse Jimmy Kimmel of inciting violence for real. This woman wants to relive the Turner Diaries. She probably masturbates to the contents of it. And, I have mentioned this before, but if you're not familiar with the Turner Diaries, it is a racist novel that it's a dystopian racist novel where a white nationalist militia takes over the United States, exterminates its minorities, and then take over the world and exterminates all the minorities or all the non-whites all around the world. And it's a world filled with 50 million white Christians to inhabit the world afterwards. Is a really dark novel, and she's the embodiment of that mentality. As far as I'm concerned, she is one of the alt-right figures in Congress. So anyway, someone like that's going to sit there and play victim. Get the fuck out of here with that bullshit. Honestly, get the fuck out of here with that. Anyway, if you like what you heard, press like and comment. If you disagree, we'll have to say comment anyway. We'll have a conversation. When you press like, it helps with the algorithms. I'm finding that out. So please do press like. Feel free to share the content on this channel. Spread the word. As the First Amendment absolutist, it's my duty to inform you to create your own platform and utilize it because we are the muckrakers of our time. And remember, we need to engage in this class struggle. Free Julian Assange because we're all Julian Assange. And remember, also, fuck Marjorie Taylor Greene. Honestly. And I don't mean that in the good way. So, anyhow, I will conclude by saying, music.